Welcome to the Unity Roofing Machine podcast. Thank you very much for being here. We got two special guests from different places in the country. Really excited, Mark, to have Dimitri and Tim Brown here from Hook Agency. Dimitri, I want to talk to you about, introduce you a little bit because you really changed a lot of things. And tomorrow in our camp that we're going to have the 2 days, you're going to be, actually on Friday, you're going to be talking about relationship. And it was just a message on Facebook that I sent you about a year ago now about you giving us a tour to our business. And I never thank you for it, but I'm really, really grateful for it because it triggered a lot of things personally in our business. But you challenged me to a few things, you know, and again, we talk about can get gifts or things or physical thing, but things that you don't see. But you challenged me to last year to do public speaking, which was very first time for me to be in front of so many people. I didn't expect to be that many people, by the way. I thought it was a breakout session. You tricked me. And the second thing is to write a book. So I'm really grateful for you for done this. And it triggered really what we're doing now, really to get out of my shell to not only train Monarch Roofing with we had a company, Monarch Brands, but starting Riva. So I'm really grateful for you. And how do you get this mindset of, you were talking about you're one relationship away from greatness, from different things?
Where do I start? I'm a firm believer that when you go after your weakness, and it's not easy to be in front of camera. People tell me all the time, Dimitri, I can't start making videos because I'm not good in front of the camera. No one is. Oh, I can't go on a stage because I'm not a good speaker. No one is. I can't write a book. No one is supposed to be writing books. When you go after a weakness, I do CrossFit every single day. You know, if you want to be competitive at something, you don't attack your strength, you attack your weakness. So if I'm really good at pull-ups, if I can do 30 pull-ups, it's great. But can you squat? Can you run? So if I can do 30 pull-ups and I continue doing that, someone will challenge me one day, can you run a mile, faster than I am? And I'm like, no, I can't, but can you do pull-ups? What's the point? So if you challenge me, like for example, if I'm a great YouTuber, but if you challenge me on a podcast, I'm like, okay, I guess I have to learn how to speak now, not just to edit. Like this is challenging for me. This is live video with the audience. I'm like, I can't speak English. I can't do this, but I have to learn.
Well, we talk about this before. What saves you is your great looks. So you got one up on everybody now.
But the thing is, you have to go after your weakness. And so many business owners in business in general, we go like, okay, I'm good at sales, but I'm bad at production. What does that mean? You can't be in business if you're bad at production. Oh, Dimitri, I don't understand marketing. I'm really good at sales, but I don't know how to get leads. That's your business. If you cannot get leads, if that's your weakness, get out of the game. You can't be in the game if you have a weakness. You're only as strong as your weakness. And unless you realize it and face the truth, you will always be that weak. That's the thing.
That's awesome. That's awesome. And I love this because we talk about as a leaders. You remind me of a quote from John Maxwell. He's talking about this. He said, in order to become great, like you said, you have to do it yourself first. You know, a lot of times we want to go easy button. And I remember when we started hiring people, I used to get mad at HR. I don't know if you remember with Emma, I was upset at her. I'm like, what's the matter with you? Why can I not find inside sales? But it was my fault because I didn't understand the process.
How did you fix it?
I did it myself. And that's like, or your personality, I'm like, you know what? Screw it. I'm going to go in. I'm going to do it myself. I'll figure it out. And it was really hard. And it's still hard to do hiring. But I had to end up meeting 100 people, do a 10 minutes interview. And I think she's here, Lizzie. Ended up hiring her. She's amazing. It's been 3 years now. But I did 100. It was over 100 interviews, 10 minutes interview on Zoom. From Indeed, and to find out that person and then that matched the right disc that we were looking for and the servant mentality that we're looking for. So it's then after that, okay, we got to get a better process and procedure to do it, and then I can hire somebody to train them to do it, because I'm like,
I love it.
That's a very unique person. Doesn't mean you like to do it, but you have to learn it first.
You know what? The biggest feedback on that, I used to run my business, and when I was doing $2 to $3 million a year, I remember August of 2015. I would sell every job, pull every permit. deliver trailer to every job. And in August, we would do like $240,000 a month. September, we did even more than 250 or 260. And I was like one man show doing it all. And then I hired production manager, sales manager, and I remember a conversation next year when I hired them. We were doing 3-4 million. I'm paying people $80,000 a year, $70,000 a year, and I remember talks. They're like, Dimitri, how did you do it yourself? There's 3 of us doing what you did last year, because they see the books. They're like, okay, last August you did 250,000. You have no complaints. They knew that 5:30 in the morning I dropped trailer on every job. I pulled every permit. I sold every job. I collected every check. And today we have 3-4 people doing the same thing. Like, how did you do it? Because when you lead by example, I was putting 40 and 15 hours per day. Now they're doing 8-10, but they're like, how did you do it? And that's how you earn authority in your own company. You're not leading from the top, like you do this. They know you can do it without them, but you need them to scale. And I think it's very important.
Servant mentality. For sure. And that's what we're going to talk about in the next 2 days is servant mentality. I feel like, I'm coming from a sales side. I think the sales side and the leadership side from Martin and, what I've experienced in Monarch Roofing the 5-6 years is all servant mentality, so I think you hit that on the head. So you talk about leads. I know, Martin, you wanted to talk about Tim a little bit about what leads, and I'm going to harp on Dimitri a little bit on door to door after that. So
No, absolutely. And definitely a lot of questions that trigger. I love this conversation. Tim, we were talking about, like, as a business owners, we get, and it happened in 2013 when we opened up. We had a office, right? It was not in my house anymore. We had an office. We had a sign on the street, and everybody started coming to our office to sell us everything and everything. It was crazy. We had to build a wall in the entry to protect from people coming in my office. So, but you're doing that kind of industry. So how can you help, like, we don't want, there's a lot of people out there to do like similar SEOs, and you can tell a little bit about what you do and how we can identify a good company versus average company.
Sure. I think in my business, if you're getting somebody inquiring to you, kind of like cold messaging or emails or whatever, it's usually the lower end companies. So for the most part, like our business, we have people come to us because we've kind of demonstrated with our case studies and stuff like that. Usually when they're popping in your DMs, they're usually a little bit lower end company. It's not always the case, and I don't want to rip on people that are newer, but ultimately they should be focused on creating a case study. Like I did a YouTube video recently where I was just like trying to give advice to those newer agencies that are trying to break into a niche. And I think first and foremost, they should try to be useful to people, and then earn that. Or you can create content, right? And then people will come to them. And I believe that you should probably hunt somebody down yourself and not take the first thing that pops into your DMs. I think that that's where people get hung up, and so they spend $200 or $1,000 a month or something like that on SEO, search engine optimization, or paid Google ads or Facebook ads or something like that, and then they're like, it doesn't work. Yeah. It doesn't work. And I mean, there's, it does suck to get scammed. It does feel very bad. And yes, you could discount all the people that do that because you had one bad experience or a couple bad experiences. Let's be real. It's also hard to do this stuff. Like it's not like everyone's trying to scam you. It's some people are just not that good at it. Mm-hmm. So not everything's a scam.
Yeah, and we hear this like at the DM, like, are you looking for more leads? And when we have like issues in our like process, like when we look at the numbers and we start working together a little bit, but before that, the numbers were like less than 10% on AdWords or website.
Like conversion rate of
the closing rate was really low.
Yeah.
How do you say, okay, well, if you a company that you use and your closing rate should be this,
I think like 20 to 30%. Like I mean, if you've got 10% closing rate on Google ad leads or search engine optimization leads, you gotta look closely at that. And that's real leads. Like obviously they've got to be real leads, and there's a little bit of filtering there because there is spam. And when you start marketing heavily, like you're talking about, you got a sign on the door, now people are coming into your office. when you start to get more people to your website, yes, there tends to be a little bit more spam. So you can put a CAPTCHA on the contact form. You can do different things, but ultimately the goal should not be, I want to decrease spam as much as possible. It should be, I want to increase leads as much as possible, and then we'll sort through that other stuff. Yeah, I think the biggest problem, so search engine optimization is the natural, getting natural people on your website through the main listing in Google, and Google Ads is like those top 3 things, and local service ads is really cool, and it's got the reviews up there. And I mean, but the worse than having an experience where there's a negative experience around search engine marketing or these different things, worse is if you get a false negative. I really believe that if you pay a very little amount and then you have a negative experience, and then you discount that for the rest of your life, you're like, I'm not going to do search engine marketing.
What is and I want to get to your question here, but what is an amount that you would say, like, okay, you're a $3 million company, you should be paying about, if you invest $1,000 a month, you should get 3 leads, quality. Is there a rule of thumb for something like that?
Yeah, it's way easier on Google Ads, whereas like our average lead cost through Google Ads is like $117. And there's other ones where it's like, people 200, 300. But that's the easy one. Yeah. Google Ads is awesome. I mean, it's really predictable, and that's why people like it, and that's why they spend a ton of money. But a wise man once told me, Jim Aileen from Roofer Marketers, shout out, that you wouldn't knock out if you're knocking doors. Transition possible here. You wouldn't knock 2 out of 10 doors.
Yeah.
So that's what Google Ads is. It's 2 out of 10 doors. The other 8 is search engine optimization, but because it takes a long time and because it's less predictable, people are not spending aggressively there. But what if you really, understand, this goes back to your point about doing some of this stuff yourself first. I think a lot of business owners could be doing some search engine optimization themselves. Some of them are. Some of you guys out there are. And I mean, blogging, answering questions they ask you answer, Marcus Sheridan, and then also creating location landing pages are things that you can do right now to get more leads. Just make sure there's 500 plus original words on each one of those location landing pages. I'm trying to pepper the
I know you
the
go
value
through
nuggets.
this. This is awesome, and I know we're gonna have a solid tomorrow we're gonna have an hour, I think, with 30 minutes talking about this. We're gonna find out more, and I got more questions for you. But we're gonna open up, Mark. I know you've been thinking about.
Yeah,
this
well, you
for a
talked
bit.
about Dimitri coming to Monarch Roofing, and again, that's something that I kept watching you, man. I saw on YouTube, and I brought Dimitri to your attention. We started watching YouTube, and said, man, we got to get this guy to it. But one thing that hit when you came to our office, and I don't know if you remember, we did the morning meeting. We had a little bit of a morning meeting, and one of the first things you said was, I think one of our sales guys asked you about door knocking. He said, man, I don't know anything about door knocking. And, it resonated with me a little bit. And I've done door knocking in the past, but I didn't feel like it was a long-lasting business model, or I didn't feel like I'd see the same guys, from 2016 to now still door knocking. I'm just wondering why didn't they ever just start branding, or why don't they try to work on their branding or start getting in-house leads? I was very fortunate enough with Monarch Roofing to start out. I did some door knocking, but at least got 1 or 2 leads a day, from this guy's genius marketing. But you really resonated with me because I felt like you had that same model, whereas, guys, we need to start building a brand rather than door knocking. And I'm not knocking any door knockers out there for sure, because I think it's a great business to get started with, but I'm wondering why not many more companies around the country start branding or marketing a little bit better rather than concentrating on just door knocking. Is it a susceptible business plan long term?
I think if you if you look at the numbers don't lie. It comes down to mentality, and it comes down to short-term game and long-term game. People who tend to invest in branding, they are here for long term.
Yep.
They're not here for 1 or 2 years, they're here for 10 years. If you're willing to spend $3,000-$4,000 on a vehicle wrap, and you're gonna, how many vehicle reps do you have? 50, 60, 70?
Yeah, well, with 3 locations, a little bit more than that, but yes.
It takes mindset. So think about it. You spend 150, 200 grand wrapping your vehicles. Well, Storm Chaser can do 20 million a year with the door knockers, and he will never spend $1 on a vehicle wrap. Why is that? Short-term thinking. So it's a mindset mentality. It's I always say you can hustle people for money, or you can sell them value. Like when you brand, I hate marketing. No offense to,
He's happy that you hate
He's
it.
like the best roofer marketer out there.
Look at
He's
this.
number one influencer right now.
No offense to Tim here, but I hate pay-per-click Google. Like, I'm organic guy. I want you to call me to do business with me. Like, period. I want to build a brand. I want to be wanted. Like, I want to build something. I want to create a value when people stand in line and say, Dimitri, what do you have? Whether it comes to my conference, and I do it in everything. I do it at my conference. I do it in school. You will never hear, you will never receive phone call from Roofing Insights, Directory, Storm Group Roofing, calling you trying to pitch your product. I want to be found. I want you to go to Google and find out like best shingle, best roofing conference, best whatever. And I want to be like, okay, here's the result. And I want you to call me and I'll sell you that.
You want to be an influencer rather than a convincer or persuader.
It's not even influencer. No one becomes influencer. You just have to provide the answer at the right time. You know, supply and demand. Demand creates supply. Everything I've ever done was created by demand. People were demanding videos, I created them.
Yep.
People were demanding better conference, I created it. People demanding better platform to connect homeowners and contractors, we created it. When you create a product based on demand, you will always have line at the door. But if you have a product that no one wants, then you have to go a door knock.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, if you live in Texas, who is waking up in the morning? All right, I hope guy number 21 will knock at my door.
Well, and we see this, like the model seems like it's changing a lot. Even when you see just Amazon and then CarMax, what they're doing, a little bit the concept of roofing machine. I feel like we're not far away from some bigger company to come in to maximize what you both are talking about, the branding, the SEO's online presence. That's not going to be necessary so much because people who wants to get somebody to knock on the door. We talk about hormones. Somebody knocks on your door, adrenaline rush right through your blood.
Cortisol, yeah.
Yeah, and then you go open the door. What happens?
But here's the challenge. Here's the challenge, though. Amazon, and no one talks about it, but Amazon used to, and still to this day, is a big purchase of Google Ads. As a matter of fact, if you go to Google and you type in products, if you type in, shoes on Amazon, you're gonna see Amazon ad. Amazon used to be the biggest buyer of Google Ads. Why is that? You have to recognize big players. Like today, I recognize the player. I'm not going to run away from it. Like you have to recognize. You have to recognize BBB. You have to recognize Google. You have to recognize establishment. But you also have to put them out of business. And you will if you do it right.
So with the products, and of course, there's a lot of companies here that roofing products that they have a good product, but I think it takes more than just a good product when you come to roofing companies because there's obviously more competition around. But I think, and what we're going to talk a lot about in the next 2 days is differentiating yourself, right? And I think you talk a lot about it. I see you brand a lot of other companies around the country. What's some of your strategies that you can give to people that are listening, or and I'm going to give a lot of them in the next tomorrow at my speaking.
I'm going to tell you right now, don't sell bullshit. Bullshit ends right here. People have common sense, and if you sell 50-year-old shingle warranty today, sooner or later you're gonna get called out. There's only so much you can go with the bullshit. There's only so far. You can sell me unlimited wind warranty, 130-mile wind warranty, unlimited, like whatever. People are gonna wake up and they're gonna believe what they believe, and they know they're gonna buy what's real. So my channel, everything I've done is, expose the gimmick, sell the real stuff that's believable and honest, and people are gonna follow you. People, it's make it process super simple. Stop the gimmick. Gimmicks don't sell.
And how are you going to explain that to a homeowner? when a homeowner sees a website and it says a 50-year limited lifetime, and you have another roofing company come in here talk about a lifetime roofing company, a lifetime shingle, yet you come in with the same thing and you're not talking about, how would you differentiate yourself to that homeowner then? And you're coming from it as like an influencer side, but I want to kind of take it to like a roofing company side and the salesman side. What are you going to tell a homeowner that
I'll tell you. The numbers don't lie, right? When you buy a car, let's say you want to buy a Ford versus Chevy, you're shopping around. If you're considering Ford F-150 versus Dodge 1500, are you going to go to Dodge and Ford websites for information? Or are you going to go to YouTube to see some influencer testing, trucks? And if you type in Ford versus Chevy and you see the YouTuber, here's what's happening right now. People are going to call you and say, hey, I want to purchase Atlas shingles or GF shingles or OC shingles. I've done my research. What's your research? I watched this YouTube video. Mm-hmm. That's the research. If you want to buy Tesla and you're considering, you're not going to go to Tesla.com to find out information about Tesla. You're going to Google Tesla complaints and you're going to see if it's legit. And that's how you're going to make a decision. People don't go to the source for the information. They do go to the third parties. And that's how it is. You're not going to go to the sales rep. You're not going to go to the manufacturer. And that's the reason why owningscorning.com, JF.com, ICO.com struggling to generate leads. They're all doing what Home Advisor is doing. The problem is no one goes in and say, hey, ICO, send me your roofer, because they know there's a bias. You go to the third party. That's why Better Business Bureau is so successful, because you want an independent source to tell you who is real. That's why Google is so successful. What's the job of the Google? To give you the best search result. I'm here in Myrtle Beach. I want to eat in a steakhouse. What's the best steakhouse around? I don't know, but I trust Google. We all are. Yeah. And that's what we have to build. I'm not going to go to steakhouse.com to find a steakhouse near me. I'm going to go to Google. We have to build a Google for this industry.
Love it.
Yeah, and I think that's what you're doing a little bit with directory,
yes.
Some of it, which is really exciting. And it reminds me a little bit of, how we get our business model. It's based a lot of like on referrals, right? That's what you're trying to talk about, I think. Like we're going on YouTube, so I can see an influencer talk about it. Somebody's experienced it, what they thought about it. So you're looking for somebody that knows a lot about it.
You want unbiased opinion, third party.
Very good. So what about directory? How are you doing with this? How's the business going?
We're about to blow up. Actually, today is a huge deal. So when we launched it, I promised from the day one we will never sell lead to anyone. Like, I don't want to sell leads. I want to connect homeowners. Like, think about directory as Uber or Amazon of construction industry. Homeowner comes in, finds the contractor, hires contractor, pays the contractor, and we have a very small fee. We announced it 2 years ago. We're going to charge 3%. Today is the day. With first transaction, we charge 3% contractor. So here's what we did. For 2 years, we've been connecting contractors. I have contractors calling me. It's like, okay, I got this job. I completed it. How do I pay you? I'm like, don't worry about it. Enjoy it. We did not charge anyone. Couple weeks ago, we're like, okay, we need to start monetizing it. So we sent email to all our homeowners, hundreds and hundreds of emails, thousands of emails. They start getting back to us. I got a job from this guy, and we start sending invoices. So today, first invoice was paid, 3%. So this guy did $11,000 job, homeowner was happy, he is happy, boom, transaction happened. So we're charging 3% after the job is complete and you get paid. So let's say Monarch Roofing is in directory, homeowner goes in, types in zip code, your 3 other contractors near, you submit the bids, we guarantee your work. So if you take their money and run away, we guarantee with the $20,000 guarantee. If you get the job and they complete the job, you complete the job, $20,000, we charge you 3% on transaction fee. Homeowner gets the guarantee from us. You pay us 3%, which is less than your marketing budget. That's how we do it. But we monitor. And in case of dispute, we are there involved in the whole process.
So or the homeowner would be looking into the attraction there, like the warranties to get the back up with a $20,000 warranty from it. That's why they would want to pay that, or how do you
Well, the
prevent?
homeowner is not paying anything.
The contractor paying.
It's a
the
contract, just like
Contract
Uber.
pays.
So when you order Uber or when you order something from Amazon, you're not paying the seller who's paying. So you're paying to be part of net. So for you, directory is a part of your marketing budget. But for the homeowner, is the platform that guarantees. As a matter of fact, homeowner can pay us and we can pay you. If homeowner calls and say, "Hey, I don't trust this guy, $20,000. Can I pay you? You pay
No
them."
way.
Absolutely. So we're like trust fund. We're a mediator. We are there, start to finish.
Yeah, man. Hey, and just I'm triggering things
Sure.
here, but what blocks the homeowner to the contractor? The contractor's like, I'm going to save you 2%. Just don't tell Dimitri.
I mean, you can. Well, here's the thing. Just like Uber, can Uber take your cash and do it? Absolutely, you can, and I'm okay with it. And it will happen. But if you would be the owner of director, would you keep that contractor if you find out? Like,
Right. and the warranty too, right? Like it's got to be something for me. Hey, where's my paperwork?
Yeah.
Exactly. Everything I do in a sense like, if I would be a contractor still today, would I sign up for this? Absolutely. So if I'm a contractor and someone is giving me jobs and all I have to do is 3%, why would I ever screw it up? But if I got crooked in my head and I'm like, okay, I'm going to cheat here, like you're essentially jeopardizing a relationship with us. I'm going to cut you off. If I'm going to find out that you do it, I'm going to kick you out, and what you're
And
going to
maybe
do
a few
next?
YouTube videos on it too.
Oh
right?
yeah, that guy's getting. That's great.
I
You'll
actually
regret this a few
never.
times.
I rarely do the videos on personal experience. It's usually someone else. I usually don't do it.
No, that's awesome, man. I love the concept for sure. On marketing side, Tim, anything that you're working on right now that's coming up or mistakes that you see? I know you talked to me about this before, like biggest mistake you see a roofing contractor maybe spend their money in the wrong place, where you're like, maybe it's not the right place to do it.
Yeah, I think to me the biggest principle is just to fully understand what you're delegating. You were talking about hiring. You're probably not doing all the hiring currently, are you?
Well, I still
You are. You're doing a lot.
actually.
Okay.
No, man. My
Yeah,
gosh,
yeah.
hiring's so important. It's second, third interview. I do a lot.
Okay,
I
I do
recruiting,
too,
and
yeah,
somebody
yeah.
asked me that before. Says, "Hey, Mark, what's your role now? I'm not
Yeah.
involved in any of the locations anymore.
Yeah.
We have GMs that are phenomenal, but I feel like one of my biggest roles through my whole 15 years it's been recruiting. Like how did I meet Mark?
Yeah.
How I meet Rob? How I meet so many key employees and people that I get to work with.
Yeah.
It's people I met somewhere. Mark was working as a general manager. I kept going to his restaurant every
Yeah.
day so I could get him to do an interview with me. It
Yeah.
took me forever, but it's people we start to meet. I think that's
I love that.
so. Recruiting is always.
Yeah, I just always think you should know how to do the thing before you delegate it, and you don't need to be like a master,
Yeah.
but you need to actually try stuff. So I just did a videos about just you shouldn't delegate or you shouldn't outsource social media marketing, in my opinion. I think social media, and there's a lot of people that'll sell it to you. They'd love to. I mean, it's easy, guys. It's really easy. You just post the thing. You take the picture and post the thing. Stop outsourcing that.
It's easier to suck at social marketing.
Yeah. Well, try. So you got to suck before you get good.
True.
So basically, I just like in half the time because
Shout out to Anna, who's our social media,
yeah.
by the
Anna.
way, who's an absolute beast.
like
Alicia, Anna, Alicia.
we used to do it for
Danielle.
companies. So like I've been that guy.
Yeah.
And like people would just like put their photos into a Google Drive and then be like, all right, now post those. We'd add an emoji and then it's good.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, it's
Yeah.
more complicated than that, but that's not really value adding. You know what I mean? So like, I just think people should get better at doing it themselves, try stuff, get better at blog a bit. Like to me I feel the bootstrap mentality, like when you're
Get
going
started.
from up to 1 million and up to 2 million, like you got to get in there. You got to get your hands dirty. You got to try stuff. And if you can't do that, I mean, it's really hard to delegate and respect what you're delegating to, because the process is hard and you want to respect the process, not just the results. You know what I mean? So understanding a little bit more about it, you can respect the process, and then you're much more likely to appreciate the result as it happens.
Yeah, and I think it helps you to establish too, like what you're going to be looking for. Like if you're hiring somebody in social media, you have no idea how you're going to hold them a scoreboard for them, so you can say good job or not a good job. So it's, if you do it like when I did it, and I'm like, okay, I need to interview 100 people. It doesn't take one day to find somebody. Where my expectations were a lot different. By doing it, I'm like, okay, it might take 2 weeks before. So
exactly, like, nothing makes you like. It's really easy to critique like a movie, a Hollywood movie, right? Like everyone always like, I can't believe that won an Emmy or what is it, Oscar or whatever. And then you try to make a movie. Yeah. You'll respect them a lot more. It's really hard. Like try stuff. I've tried stand-up comedy. I've tried to make a movie. I've tried all these things because it helps me respect all these people, and you really, really appreciate stuff more when you try it. So at least get out there and try it, and then you can delegate it way better.
And Martin talks about it all the time, having employees that do a lot of things, right? We talk to a lot of companies that have multiple job roles, and our big thing is like having to focus on one thing, right? And obviously fortunate enough to, he grew a business, fortunate enough to be able to find employees that do one thing, but we see it all the time where people have multitasking, and first thing that we kind of say is like, wow, it's actually a good thing. Now we can kind of, everybody's job, and now we can kind of narrow it down to maybe focus on your one thing. But it's been awesome. I know we're coming to a time, and before Martin closes, I first want to say thank you guys for coming.
We actually have a little thank you gift since.
Sorry to interrupt.
Dimitri, since you've been a good promoter for us, and you've been telling your student and getting the students the book, so we got you 20 copies here for the roofing machine for you. You can keep them all, or you can give it to your student or whatever. I know you're a big fan, but.
Well, I've been waiting for this because you cannot get this book. Awesome. Thank you so much. I'll bring it back and I'll ship it to my students.
Very good. Thank you, Dimitri. Thank you, Tim. Appreciate you, Mark. It was the end of the roofing machine. Hope you enjoy. If you can subscribe on YouTube, it's going to be on YouTube here in the next couple of weeks. Always a pleasure to see you, and we'll see you next time. Thank you.